Hello everyone, this is Sandeep here. Welcome once again to my channel Realtor from Dubai. I have seen your good response on my previous video of Damak Hills community tour where I have shown you the show villa, the amenities and facilities, and thank you so much for your response. One question I have got from my previous video is that since there are a lot of ready properties in the community, how and when one can apply for a mortgage. And to tell us more about the entire financing process, entire mortgage process of ready to move in properties for residents as well as for the non-residents, we have Mr. Sameer Vaya from Mortgage Simplified with us today. He's going to explain us the entire process and the documentation required for the mortgage. Sameer, welcome to my show.
Hi. Thank you, Sandeep, for inviting me. Hello, viewers.
So in this video, we're going to discuss specifically about how one can apply for a mortgage, what is the process involved in the mortgage, and what are the documentation you should be carrying with you to get the mortgage done. So let's start today's episode of Realtor from Dubai. Hi Sameer, welcome to my channel.
Thank you. Hi, Sandeep. How are you?
I'm good, I'm doing good. Let's have a sit and then we'll discuss. So Sameer, as I mentioned, there are a lot of people who these days are getting finance from the bank. And since Damak Hills is a very famous community these days because there are a lot of villas which are ready to move in, a lot of amenities and facilities, which I have shown in my previous videos. So wanted to know from you, what is the mortgage process is like for properties like this?
All right. So let me explain. Yes, first of all, this is a really nice community. I have had a look around and I'm impressed by it myself. Now, when it comes to the mortgage process, first-time residential buyers can avail up to 80% finance from the bank on the property price. And not only that, there are some fees involved in buying a property as well. I'm sure that 4% Dubai Land Department, 2% real estate. A major chunk of this can also be added to the loan amount. Okay. So it's almost like 85% finance, which means that your upfront cash requirement, the 20% down payment, and I would say approximately 6.5% of all the fees will go down by another 5% and make it around 22.5%. So that will be your upfront cash requirement. And not only that, for non-residents, you'd be surprised that recently there have been some development. They can avail up to 75% as well, which used to be around 50% before. So process-wise, I would advise all your viewers that whenever you are planning to get a mortgage on your property, first start with a pre-approval. A pre-approval is like an in-principle approval saying that you are eligible for a mortgage. Of course, some very basic documents. You have your passport, Emirates ID, bank statements, and your income proof like your salary certificate. But if it's a self-employed, then trade license and company statements. So these basic documents, and we can get you a pre-approval which says you're eligible to get a loan amount of X amount, which should be 80% of the property price, of course, along with the fee finance as well.
I have one question to add to that. Let's say, for example, if the property is furnished, and let's say because few of the villas sold in this community were serviced villas. Right. So are these properties, let's say, even if in case of apartments, if the apartments are hotel apartments, so I believe those come into commercial, right? Yes. So the buyer of those properties, are those eligible to get a finance on those properties which are especially, you can say, a commercial ones?
Okay. When you say commercial, of course, they're commercial use, right? Commercially used residential properties. I would say hotel apartments or service apartments. Yes, there are banks which will finance hotel apartments, service apartments. There are certain banks which would want in writing that these are not part of a rental pool agreement, which Damak happily provides in the form of a letter. But then once we have that, yes, the same 80% can be lent by the bank.
All right. So for the buyers who have bought the hotel apartments previously, there's a news for you. You also can get a bank finance provided with terms and conditions, but there are chances that most likely you will get the finance on your serviced or a commercial property, residential property as well. Now, Sameer, since you mentioned, once you get the pre-approval, then, you get the ball rolling. So what do you think? What are the steps involved in the, getting from the pre-approval to getting the disbursement? Can you just brief us a little bit more on that?
Absolutely, I can. So absolutely. So you of course start with the pre-approval. Once you've signed an MOU or an SPA, depending on the kind of transaction it is, which is more of like an agreement to buy the property, the bank then does a valuation of the property to establish what the market value of the property is. Based on that, they will lend 80% of the valuation price or the purchase price, whichever is lower. So pre-approval done, valuation done, then the bank prepares the final offer letters, which are more specific to the property, to the exact loan amount, and the tenure, etc., terms and conditions involved within the specific property and the client's profile. Once that is done, we always have to go through the process of applying for an NOC, making sure the service charges and all are cleared, and then we go for the transfer.
So that's it, the entire
That's the overall process. Timeline, I would say, from the time you start your process with the bank, 4 to 6 weeks, depending on the bank and depending on the overall transactions. But in 4 weeks, we've completed most of our process.
So, Sameer, since you mentioned about the valuation, just wanted to give more insight, to my viewers.
Sure.
What are the valuations are coming these days? Because we all know that market, especially for the townhouses and villas, had seen a massive increase in the prices.
Yes, they have.
Has that increase in the prices, affected the valuation of the ready properties? Because if the valuation has increased, so that gives an advantage to the people who are taking the mortgage. What's your take on that?
Sure, yes. There has been a positive change in the overall valuations of the property. I would say 9 out of 10 valuations that I do are slightly above the purchase price, right? So like just giving an example, just a few days ago, a property being bought at 3.1, we got a valuation of 3.5. A property being bought at 2,150,000, we got a valuation of 2.250. So 100,000 more. Someone who had bought from the developer around 1.6, not this community, a different one, but then again he got a valuation of 1.7. So there is a positive change when it comes to the valuation. Most of the valuation are either at the same purchase price, if it's a well bargained price that you've got, or they're slightly above than the market price, because overall townhouses, villas, and even apartments have seen an increment in the property prices.
So that's basically a very good news for people who are looking out to go and get the finance. Absolutely. Because the valuations have gone up. The mortgage process, Sameer has explained very well. It's very simple, and with the person like Sameer, who has been in the industry for more than a decade, your job is very easy. All you have to do is contact him on his contact number, which is on the screen now. I will provide his email address in the description below as well. And then you're all set. It's just that you need to give him a call and tell him what you are buying, and the rest is up to him. He will get it done. Thank you so much, Sameer, for coming on to the show, and thank you so much for your information. Looking forward to see you and making another video with you in future as well.
Pleasure.
If you find this video helpful and informative, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel. If you find this video can give more insight to your friends and colleagues, don't forget to share it with them as well. And if you have any queries regarding any properties which is in Dubai or UAE, all you have to do is contact me on my contact number, which is 971-54771-7848. You can also reach out to me on my Instagram handle, which is Realtor from Dubai. Thank you so much for watching. See you next Thursday with yet another vlog wherein you can invest in Dubai. Till then, stay safe, take care, bye-bye.